What's up, YouTube? Herman Williams here again. First of all, I would like to apologize to all my subscribers for not releasing a new lesson last week. I hope that you can forgive me, but I had a good excuse. I was battling COVID-19. I hope that you are all protecting yourselves and staying safe out there. Take it from me, this virus is no joke. I'm not fully recovered yet, but I still consider myself one of the lucky ones. If you're new to this channel and you like the content, please take a moment to subscribe and don't forget to hit that notification bell so that you will be informed when new videos are published. Also, don't forget to leave your comments, good or bad, and please give this video a thumbs up or thumbs down based on your honest opinion. Thanks, I really appreciate that. But let's move on to today's lesson. You know, everyone that I meet and talk to has their own idea of what living the American dream means to them. Everyone also has their own definition of what being wealthy means. For some, it's the examples they see on TV of people living very lavish lifestyles with mansions and yachts and expensive cars. For others, it simply means being able to live a comfortable, secure lifestyle that gives them the kind of pleasures that they seek. For some, being wealthy means that they have the resources to give back to the community or to help other family members live a better life. Whatever your definition of wealthy turns out to be, I don't think anyone would argue that it takes money to make these things happen. So why is it that some people end up living the lifestyle they want while some seem to struggle their entire lives? Are those that consider themselves wealthy better human beings? No, I don't think so. Are the wealthy, dishonest, immoral crooks who have taken advantage of people to obtain their wealth? Well, in some cases, yes, that is true. But what if I told you that you were the one who had the most control over whether or not you're able to build wealth? Don't get me wrong, I'm not suggesting that life events and circumstances don't play a part in determining our financial destiny. What I am suggesting is that in a lot of cases, we don't take responsibility for our own actions or lack thereof that ultimately determine our ability to build wealth. We don't always understand or appreciate the power of the decisions we make on a regular basis and how those seemingly small decisions can have either a negative or positive effect on our ability to build wealth. Let's examine just a few of the decisions we're all faced with at some point and explore some of the possible outcomes as it relates to building wealth. One of the biggest obstacles to building wealth is debt. Whenever we make a decision to carry debt, we're also making a decision to not build wealth. Of course, we don't see it that way at the time, but in reality, that's what we're doing. Let's look at taking on debt to buy a car, for example. We all need transportation, and we will purchase multiple vehicles during our lifetime. But what we typically don't think about is the decision-making process behind purchasing those vehicles, and more importantly, how that decision-making process impacts our ability to build wealth. Let's say you're considering buying a new car, and the car you have in mind costs $35,000. Let's also assume that you have decent credit and the dealer can get you financed at 3.25%. That amount financed at that rate for 4 years would leave you with a monthly payment of roughly $778. Uh-oh, that's more than we had in mind. So then the dealer asks you that question that's about to get you in trouble. He or she says, "What do you need your payments to be?" You respond that you were hoping to keep your payments around $500 a month. It's at that moment that you start to give up the ability to build wealth. The dealer excuses himself and comes back and says he can get you into that car of your dreams for around $535 a month, but instead of financing it for 4 years like you planned, you have to finance it for 6 years to get the payments where you want it. Now that may not sound like a big deal, but let's take a look at how that plays out on our ability to build wealth. That extra 2 years of payments at $535 amounts to an additional $11,882 total. But here's the part that really hurts our wealth building ability and we don't even think about it. If $535 a month for 4 years is what we had decided we could afford in the beginning, then we should have been shopping for a car in the $25,000 range and not the $35,000 range. After 4 years, the car would have been paid for, and we could have continued to set aside the $535 for 2 more years, but instead of paying it to the dealership or bank, we could have invested it in the stock market. If we did that for just 2 years and didn't add another penny, and we earned an average return of 8%, in 20 years we would have roughly $58,000. That's how our decision making affects our ability to build wealth. This was just an example of a single car purchase. Remember, you're likely to buy multiple cars over your lifetime. This was also a conservative example. Think about the people who finance a new car for 7 years and then decide that they need or want a new car after 5 years, but they still owe more on the first car than it's currently worth. So the difference gets added to the price of the new car and the cycle begins again. Think about this for a moment. What could you do with an extra $60,000 in your retirement nest egg? Another costly decision that we tend to make that diminishes our ability to build wealth is deciding not to have an emergency fund. Without an emergency fund, any unplanned expenses that come up will likely be handled with a credit card. Do you realize that some people carry a credit card balance nearly their entire adult life? As of April of 2020, the average minimum monthly credit card payment was around $123.88. Imagine if you were paying that amount to yourself instead of to the credit card companies. If we apply the same 8% rate of return as before, in 20 years you would have approximately $73,000. Combine that with smarter decision making on your car purchases, and now you're up to over $130,000 of real wealth, and all you have done is make better decisions. I haven't even touched on paying off your mortgage early or making sure you have a strategy to adequately fund your 401k, 403b, or your IRA, all of which can have a huge impact on your wealth building. Look, we all face what may seem like minor financial decisions every day. What you have to understand is that every decision we make has an opportunity cost associated with it. Opportunity cost is what you give up for the decision that you make. The bottom line is that wealth building begins with decision making, and good financial decision making begins with having a money mindset. And having a money mindset begins with changing your money habits or your financial behaviors. When are you going to make the decision to take control of your wealth building? Whenever you're faced with a financial decision, get in the habit of taking a moment to ask yourself 2 questions. 1, is this the best decision that I can make under the circumstances? And 2, what am I giving up by making this decision? Once you get in the habit of doing this, you won't have to think about it as much, and the right decisions will become more instinctive. You will form a new set of behaviors and a new money mindset. And like I always say, change your behaviors and you can change your life. So until next time, behave well.